He posted a really disgusting, hateful rant against immigrants, trying to use and abuse the tragic shooting and murder of the two National Guard members by an Afghan national to stoke Islamophobia and his anti-immigrant xenophobia and anti-immigration policy. So, as you all know, they've been trying to do this since forever. They just need an excuse. And this is called responding to the hate mongers, and it's personal, and also is a response to what's happening in this country. For those who don't know why I've been in the news for the past week, why you've seen so many Twitter clips, and why you've seen so many Instagram clicks and TikTok clips, my friends have been messaging me. It's because last Friday. I think, yeah, it was last Friday when Donald Trump did his unhinged, hateful post on Thanksgiving, midnight. Instead of wishing people happy Thanksgiving, pardoning a turkey, being a normal human being and not a freak, spending time with his wife who hates him, spending time with his children, he posted a really disgusting, hateful rant against immigrants, trying to use and abuse the tragic shooting and murder of the two National Guard members by an Afghan national to stoke Islamophobia and his anti-immigrant xenophobia and anti-immigration policy. So, as you all know, they've been trying to do this since forever. They just need an excuse to rationalize it. In the summer, Stephen Miller, Minnie Himmler, Budget Goebbels, Pee Wee German, according to the Wall Street Journal, that flaming left-wing rag, the Wall Street Journal, he unleashed the masked armed agents in LA, specifically at 7-Eleven and Hope Depot, to create a crisis. He wanted a conflict. He wanted, if you will, a conflagration, right? Because that would then give him an excuse to implement the Insurrection Act. They've been saying it since the summer. What happened instead is, thankfully, the Los Angeles community, the organizers, were peaceful. They responded in an organized, lawful, peaceful manner, to the point where even the LAPD, that notorious lefty socialist organization, the LAPD, that has such fantastic relations with Black and brown communities, they came on Twitter and thanked the community. So that was their Rackstack fire moment. Stephen Miller was so angry and upset and rubbing his bald head and like, what can I do? I wanted to cause this tension and violence, and it didn't happen, but didn't stop them. Unleashed the National Guard, unleashed masked armed ICE agents that have been terrorizing American cities, zip tying kids, going against all people, not just Black and brown folks. You saw the video of them tackling the 79-year-old white shopkeeper. You've seen the photo of them tackling the white priest. You've seen the photo of them tear gassing, literally shooting a white priest, with tear gas. Literally, yes, someone said creating a crisis. The Reichstag fire. They want the crisis that will then justify their further illegal crackdown. That's what the Nazis do with the Reichstag fire. See, look, it's chaos. Look at them. Look at the leftists and the communists who burned down the Reichstag. You need order, and that's how Hitler came to power, right? They voluntarily ceded control to Hitler. He declared martial law, and voila, he became a dictator. So they've been aiming and itching for their Reichstag fire moment. Then came the murder of Charlie Kirk. And if you all recall, before there was a suspect, just remember, folks, because I know every day seems like 10 years. Before there was a suspect, Donald Trump, what did he do? Addressed the nation and blamed the killing of Charlie Kirk on left-wing rhetoric and left-wing terrorism. There was no suspect. There was no motive, because Kash Patel was running his rudderless FBI. That's what FBI agents are leaking. He's rudderless and apparently, quote, paralyzed with fear, completely incompetent. This is why you need competent people in positions of leadership. Kash Patel has no law enforcement experience. And before the family member of Tyler Robinson urged to turn himself in, they were lost. There were no leads. So no leads, no suspect. Donald Trump comes out, deliberately blames the left wing, the left, and left wing rhetoric. It ends up being, allegedly, Tyler Robinson, an apolitical man from a Christian conservative family who allegedly, and we don't know because there's no transparency about any of this, killed Kirk because he was somewhere radicalized along the way. Notice when it's a white man You don't hear about it. It's gone from the news. Tyler Robinson, do you ever hear about it again? I don't hear about it. Do you hear about Vance Bolter? You know, the radicalized MAGA white shooter who had a list of 70 liberals and Democrats and shot and killed Melissa Hortman, her husband, and their dog. Do you ever hear about Vance Bolter? Folks, let me know in the comment section. Oh, no. Have you heard about the 1,600 insurrectionists who were pardoned by Donald Trump? One of them was arrested recently for sexually assaulting a minor. You all heard about him? Did you hear about the one who tried to kill a Democrat? Do you guys hear about David DePape, the Trump supporter who tried to kill Nancy Pelosi, ended up at her house with a hammer and almost killed her husband, Paul Pelosi? Gone, right? So they've been trying for this Ragstack fire moment. And you all remember Stephen Miller said they and them, and Charlie Kirk told me that I'm going to go after the radical left. And then they found out it was Tyler Robinson. Even after it was Tyler Robinson, they still said they and them. Even Erica Kirk said they will suffer. I'm like, what do you mean they? It's allegedly Tyler Robinson. So they wanted their Ragstack fire moment then. And folks, this coincides with what's happening in Venezuela right now, because if you've been watching the Left Hook, I've been trying to talk about what's been happening in Venezuela, is that the Trump administration has been engaging in extrajudicial assassinations. I've been using the word murder. Without any evidence and any proof, they have killed more than 24 people, right? We have a process. We have the Navy. We have the Coast Guard. If you believe that a boat is smuggling drugs, if there's suspicion, you know what you do? You stop the boat. You interdict. If you really want to be aggressive, you can shoot the motor of the boat. They can't go anywhere, right? You detain them, you investigate them, and then you either try them or you let them go. In fact, if there was drug smugglers and you captured a drug cartel in fentanyl, that's great press. You know what you do? You splash it. You go, look at what the Trump administration did. We found 100 pounds of fentanyl and cocaine being smuggled, and we caught them. They didn't do any of that. What did they do instead? They killed these people. They murdered them. And then we've been asking, okay, you said they're drug smugglers. Where's the proof? Where's the evidence? No evidence, no proof. And then we find out that there were two survivors. And those two survivors, instead of us finding out about them or them being tried, there being a trial, nope, quickly repatriated to their country. Right. So we don't even know, like, oops, there are two survivors. What do we do with them? Send them back. And now we found out, Pete Keksa cosplaying as a crusader. Yeah, we ordered it. This is what we do to drug smugglers. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we did the double tap. Yeah, kill them all. Oh, wait. I only gave the first order. It was the admiral who gave it. Oh, wait. Never mind. Fog of war. Whoopsie. And now last night on Fox, I don't know if you saw, but Judge Napolitano, who is a longtime colleague and friend of Pete Hegseth, openly said on Fox, yeah, I've known Pete for a while, but this looks like war crimes. Now, how is that related to all of us? Is they've been itching for a crisis, for a fight, for a war, right? First and foremost, they want regime change in Venezuela because they want to put a puppet there so them and the oligarchy can get the oil reserves. It's there in Project 2025. But also, if you've been watching the Left Hook, I've had people like Olivia Troy and Miles Taylor on, who worked in the first Trump administration, and they both confirmed independently that when they were in there in the first Trump administration, Stephen Miller out loud dreamt of bombing Mexico. That's like his wet dream. He wants to bomb Mexico and the Latin American countries, and he wants to send a lesson. He wants to send them back, right? So they've been. It's white supremacy, white Christian nationalism, and also the oligarchy. That's what we're dealing with. Russell Vought, a white Christian nationalist, the co-author of Project 2025, Stephen Miller, a white nationalist, and then Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, who are white nationalists, and the oligarchy, right? At the end of the day, what combines these people together is their desire for power, specifically white power, and money and control. But they're not all different, right? You got the oligarchy, you got the white Christian nationalists, and you got the straight up white nationalists, all right? Pam Bondi, if you recall, our attorney general came out during this televised cabinet hearing, I think 2 months ago, in which Donald Trump fell asleep again, just like yesterday. He fell asleep during that meeting. And she said, we're going to do to these leftists and these terrorists and these anti-fascists what we're doing to the Venezuelan drug smugglers. To which I asked on the Left Hook, kill us without any evidence? And the answer seems yes. She also used the word insurrection. Miller has kept using the word insurrection. Why? Why? He wants to invoke the Insurrection Act. When Donald Trump was asked, will you invoke the Insurrection Act? He didn't say no. Let's go forward. So they've been waiting for the Rackstack fire moment. They want to crack down. They want to do the Insurrection Act. I still maintain they want to go for martial law, especially as the economy sinks, Epstein sink. For those who've been watching, I've said the two Achilles cankles in the summer are going to be Epstein and the economy. He's overreached on both. You've seen the polls. He's negative. He's underwater. I said, and I still maintain that a cornered New York sewer right will chew through anything and everyone. I believe they'll go all in with an attempt to do the Insurrection Act and martial law. People say that's impossible, and I say you're suffering from a failure of imagination. Literally, the immigration policy now openly favors white immigrants. You told me it was impossible. I said they'll do it. That's what's happening. They've capped refugee at 7,500, which is the lowest number ever, and openly have said that there is a preference for white refugees. And yesterday, if you were paying attention, Donald Trump said this about Somalis. We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar's garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. I don't want Somalis here. So they tried this with Haitians, right? Before the election, spread the neo-Nazi conspiracy of them eating dogs and cats, and we were just supposed to sit there and take it. They did the Muslim ban. We were supposed to sit there and take it. When Donald Trump descended the elevators, he called Mexicans rapists and criminals. Oh, they're just joking. Economic anxiety. Oh, it's a racial trip up. He said in his first administration, why can't we get people from Norway? Why do we have to get them from shithole countries? Ha ha ha. Oh, that's so funny. And then you have Stephen Miller and Steve Bannon, who have openly said that the book that they recommend people read is Camp of the Saints. Camp of the Saints is a white nationalist book written by a French racist, a fictional dystopian book that is now a cornerstone of white supremacist literature. It's that in the Turner Diaries that warns of a future in which brown people, led by some brown deranged prophet who eat shit, take over Europe. That's the book, Camp of the Saints. Okay. So it went from Haitians to now Somalians. Now, why did it go to Somalians? Because in the past week, their third attempt at the Rackstack fire was the tragic shooting of the two National Guard members by an Afghan national. And again, we still don't have a motive. We still don't know why this guy did it. Apparently, what we've found out is he was radicalized in part by his work in the CIA Zero Unit. And that Zero Unit in the CIA was notorious for just barbarity. And his friend said that he was radicalized by what he saw and what he witnessed. And then he came here, he couldn't get opportunities. And so before we have a motive, what did he do? He did that hateful rant. We're going to deport all the people who come from third world countries. We're going to denaturalize citizens. We're going to remove birthright citizenship. And then Kristi Noem yesterday, I'm going to actually read you Kristi Noem's quote. Kristi Noem, Monday. What did she say? Uh, Kristi Noem calls for a travel ban. This is what she said. I'm recommending a full travel ban on every damn country that's been flooding our nation with killers and leeches and entitlement junkies. He said this as he literally just pardoned a drug trafficker, as he pardoned a man, a venture capitalist who stole billions of dollars from thousands of Americans, as he's pardoned his business partner, CZ, a money launderer, as he's pardoned 1,600 violent insurrectionists. They're so stupid. They're so reckless, right? So it's always about power, racism, and money for these people, right? So the third Rackstack fire has been this Afghan national, and using that Afghan national to go all in their white nationalist agenda. And I think it's important that we use the correct words. It is a white nationalist agenda. Now, people say, "Watch, you're just too crazy. You're just hysterical." And I say, don't listen to me. Trust the evidence of your eyes and your ears. I just read you what Kristi Noem said. You saw the clip of Donald Trump. He literally fell asleep. The guy's dying, folks. He's a man who knows optics and the TV, and he still couldn't keep his eyes awake. I don't know if you all saw yesterday the cabinet meeting. It was embarrassing. Where's Jake Tapper? Hey, Jake Tapper, maybe you want to write a book about Donald Trump's health? Why did he have two MRIs? How come he doesn't know where he had the MRI? Was it the head? Was it something else? How come he's had two checkups at Walter Reed Hospital? How come he has cankles? What's up with the splotch on his hand? How come he literally cannot stay awake in any public setting? How come he has that stroke mouth each time he sleeps? I'm not making fun of anyone with stroke. I'm literally just look at it. He has that mini stroke mouth. He literally fell asleep as Marco Rubio was addressing him. And then he woke up. He's like, oh, well, let me say something racist about Somalis. Okay, let me go back to sleep. And so now you're seeing outright, it's so racist that after 10 years, finally, finally, even corporate media couldn't do. He had a racial trip up, he had a racial flare up, it's economic anxiety. It's so racist that even the New York Times yesterday had to say, yeah, that was one of the most xenophobic things we've heard. So now, folks, they've gone all in with xenophobia and white nationalism. And I think it's important we use that word, white nationalism and white supremacy, because if you are not in the swamps like I am, I've been researching these people, following these people for 15 years. That's not what I want to do in my life. I do many things, but this is one of the things I do. I'm in the thick of it with these the right wingers. I wrote this report called "Fear Incorporated: The Roots of the Islamophobia Network in America" back in 2011. I've seen and I warned the Democrats and progressives and people in D.C. I said, even if Trump loses, you have to pay attention to this white nationalist movement. It's not going away, and they dismissed me. And I said, listen, they're going after Muslims right now, but hate is intersectional. They also hate women. They hate Latinos. They hate immigrants. They hate black people. They hate LGBTQ. And this is a transnational movement. They piggyback on each other's conspiracy theories and talking points. A lot of these people, like Tommy Robinson and Geert Wilders, they came to America and Israel, by the way. It's an international movement. You see Viktor Orban of Hungary coming back and forth, Tucker Carlson going to Russia and Hungary, right? They dismissed it. And for 10 years, we've coddled, infantilized Donald Trump and JD Vance and their racism. And they get away with it because what do they say? Just take a joke. Why can't you take a joke? Why are you being so politically incorrect? Why do you need safe spaces? Do you remember before the election, they had that rally in Times Square and all the comedians and speakers talked shit about black people and women and Jews and Puerto Rico. And what did JD Vance say? Just take a joke, liberals. Why can't you take a joke? They can dish it, but they can't take it. They want safe spaces for themselves, no safe spaces for us, right? They demand civility, but they give cruelty. They're fragile like Donald Trump. He represents white supremacy, the fragility of white supremacy, male white supremacy, right? When a woman, a female reporter, ever just asks him questions, look at what he did in the last 2 weeks. He hates when women and women of color talk back to them. There's also a massive streak of misogyny. These guys hate women showing them up. People like Pete Hegseth and Stephen Miller and Trump. What did he say? Quiet piggy, quiet piggy. You're an idiot. You're stupid, insecure, and fragile. So this takes us in the next 5, 6 minutes. I'm just going to address the controversy I've been following, why I got into hot waters, which is fine. There were about 1,500 of you last Friday. I saw Donald Trump's hateful comments. I was in Florida with my in-laws, and I just decided to go late at night and respond to it. And 1,500 people were watching, and many of the viewers and supporters and subscribers of the Left Hook are, wait for it, white. Hello, thank you, welcome. I love you. I love the white people. Some of my best friends are white people. Some of my best subscribers are white people, right? White people are included in the multicultural coalition. White, black, brown, Asian, biracial, right? Folks, a race is a social construct. We're all the same people. It's just melanin, right? You all get it, but hate mongers don't. So I literally, in my, what was supposed to be a 10-minute talk, it ended up being an hour. At the 43 or 44-minute mark, I address hate mongers. And I went back and I checked it like last night. I'm like, I'm very confident I was addressing hate mongers. Yep, I was addressing hate mongers, responding to Donald Trump. And I furthermore differentiated between white nationalists and white supremacists and everyone else, including white folks who are part of my multicultural coalition and my dope barbecue where we have better looking women, better music, and better food and seasoned chicken. So I know these people. And I know the new MAGA. The new MAGA, folks, is Groypers. It's Ben Shapiro's in the rear view mirror. He's a rhino. He's Patrick Swayze, Michael Knowles, even the Laura Loomers. New MAGA moving forward, they're Groypers, neo-Nazis, shit talkers, black pill accelerationists, right? 4chan trolls. These people openly say stuff like, I love Hitler. That's what the young leaders said in the 2,900 pages of Telegram post. Did you all read it? They're all Groypers. 1488, the white supremacist slogan. Imagining throwing us, their enemies, in the gas chambers, right? Saying stuff like rape is epic. Department of Homeland Security, not just once, but twice, tweets, remigrate. Just happened 2 days ago. Remigrate. All of you who tell me I'm overreacting, I'm hysterical, oh, it's a racial trip up, a flare up, they're not racist. What are you talking about? The Department of Homeland Security tweeted a white supremacist word. It's only in white supremacist circles, remigrate. Twice. What does remigrate mean? Ethnic cleansing of black and brown people from America. Then you saw the Department of Labor tweet out the 11 stars of the Confederacy around Lincoln's head using the font used by neo-Nazi groups. Then you saw the Department of State talk about American sovereignty. Then you've seen multiple examples of MAGA being asked to literally condemn Nick Fuentes, a anti-Semite, a white nationalist, a man who said Hitler was based, and they have failed. Don Jr. refused to condemn him. Tucker Carlson refused to condemn him. The Heritage Foundation president, I don't know if you've been following right now, it's been a huge brouhaha because he realized where the wind is blowing and he didn't throw Tucker Carlson under the bus. Donald Trump dined with Nick Fuentes. I've been on top of this for 2.5 years. I said, everyone was talking about Kanye because he dined with Kanye post anti-Semitism rant, pre-Nazi. But Nick Fuentes was there. And about 2.5 years ago, people didn't know who Nick Fuentes was. I'm like, yo, this is a game changer moment. Nick Fuentes is there. And then Donald Trump was asked to denounce Nick Fuentes. He didn't do it. He still hasn't done it. Katie Miller, Stephen Miller's equally unhinged wife, who is proudly Jewish, was on CNN, was asked to condemn Nick Fuentes just a couple of days ago. Nick Fuentes, the anti-Semite, didn't do it. Why? Because the Groypers, what they represent is the present and future of the GOP. We're dealing with neo-Nazis, white nationalists, white Christian nationalists. My friend who has been following extremism online for 10 years, that's what he does for a living, researches the rise of anti-Muslim bigotry, anti-Semitism, white Christian nationalists. He told me this right now, this moment, is the worst that he's ever seen it. I've been in this space, gosh, since I was a college student. This to me is about as bad as it was since 2010, 2011, Barack Hussein Obama, Muslim Sharia law. It's bad, folks. You saw what happened with Mamdani. They're playing for all the marbles. So when I went in and said this for the past week, every day, I'm talking about, mashallah, the entirety of the right-wing ecosystem, going all the way up to Fox, has deliberately taken a clip from my very intentional rant against hate mongers and white supremacists, white nationalists. It's all there, folks. And they said, Wajahat says this about white people. And I said, no, not white people. White people are part of the multicultural coalition. White people are my viewers. White people were there, the 1,500. I'm talking about hate mongers and white supremacists and white nationalists, which also includes, sadly, some people of color. And they have now put a target on me, which is fine. I'm a big boy. I've even seen far left writer hates whites, hates whites, hates whites, blah, 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 right? Let me just tell you how fragile these people are. Let me tell you what's in my inbox almost every day. I get this all the time. I'm going to read you one. Dead man walking. F you, sand, N-word. Love your food and your people. This is a step too far. If I see you, you're effed. Awesome. I always respond to them sometime. At least we were able to put a man on the moon. All you can do is impregnate women. You're no different than a dog in heat. Now tell us again about all the black and brown parasites that have been awarded the Nobel Prize in the sciences. Actually, several. We're waiting. Moron. Another one. I get this all the time. Walk the streets, pal. I dare ya. I'm like, all right, I will. I'll say hi to you. You have some real issues. You should never drink and post. Your racist rant was disturbing and will ruin your career. Yada, 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 yada. Anytime you want to go toe to toe, camel humper, name the time and place. And another thing someone said to me is, you've just radicalized people and made them white nationalists. You made them white supremacists, to which I say, nobody makes anyone a white supremacist. Maybe they've just taken off their hoods. Maybe this is who they always were. And the hoods are off, folks. And that's why I wanted to address this, is because people weren't in the thick of it. You don't know what we're dealing with. You don't know the present and future of the GOP. After Trump is gone, this is who's going to take over. They're playing for all the marbles. Trump is playing for all the marbles. Stephen Miller is playing for all the marbles. They realize this is their only moment. Look at Elon Musk's tweets over the last 3 days. Have you guys seen it? Unhinged. Unhinged. White population, white babies, white people are being erased. This is the death rattle of white supremacy that has turned into a death march. And they're playing for all the marbles. And I call them losers because it's an ideology of losers. It is the end game in which they lose. But before they lose, they will do immense, immense, immense damage. Immense damage. So this is what we're dealing with. And I respond this way to some of them. I take them on head on. And I'll tell you why. Because some people who like a lot of people who are concerned, family and friends and people who don't know what we're dealing with. They're like, Waj, why are you riling them? Waj, why are you saying this? Because they only saw the clips. No, no, don't say anything. Be quiet. And they want you to be quiet. They want to bully you. They want to have their boot on your neck. They want you to be afraid. They want you to think that they're legion with all their fake bots and troll accounts from Europe and India. They want you to stay quiet, especially if you're a woman or person of color. That's how they get power. They're bullies. What they hate, what they hate is especially a woman or a person of color or a Muslim speaking to them, speaking back, talking back. They can't stand it, especially when we do it with a smile on our face, especially when we do it with joy, especially when we do it like Bugs Bunny, especially if you're like sometimes like Jen Welch and you're just as vulgar as them and put them in their place, right? They can't stand it. They melt down. And that's what we're witnessing, the meltdown of a movement that realizes it is losing, and it is losing big, folks. This Tennessee election, no, I guess not that big of a deal. Yeah, she lost. We knew she'd lost. There is a reason they pummeled millions of dollars into it, and she ended up losing only by 7 points. But all the data is coming out that even in Tennessee, it's going double digit towards Democrats. They're negative on the economy, negative on Epstein, negative on immigration, now negative on the America First agenda. Leaks are coming out within the FBI. Leaks are coming out within the Department of Homeland Security. All of this stuff that's engulfing Kash Patel and Pete Hegseth, that ain't us. That's leaks. And I know Lev's here. Lev, so I texted Lev at 1:45. I said I had 30 minutes. You want to go on? And I was waiting for him to say yes. And I think he said yes 5 minutes ago. Lev, I'm going to talk to you at 5 if you're free, right? Because I got to go to my kid's dentist. So before Lev came on, I decided just to do this piece instead because I'm a masochist and instead of resting. So Lev, if you're okay, I'm going to have Katie Fang at 4, the mighty Katie Fang. And Lev, because Lev said 100%. I saw him in the text when I said all these leaks are coming out. Witkoff, I'll give props to Lev. He was on Witkoff. We've been talking about Steve Witkoff for a month on this show and on Lev's show. Now you're all figuring out what's happening with Witkoff and Kushner. Literally, throwing America, our allies in Ukraine, under the bus to make money with Russia. That's what's happening. All this stuff is coming from within, folks. That Witkoff audio conversation with the Russian advisor was leaked by European ally, right? Yeah, and where's Dan Bongino? Where's Dan Bongino? They're leaking out against him too. So the FBI agents are leaking out against Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. Hilarious stuff that they've said. We'll talk about it later. But this is what I want to respond to. So if you're white and you're watching, no, white people are people. You're my people. I love white people, black people, brown people, biracial people, Asian people. We're just people, folks. Race is a social construct. The Irish were not considered white in this country. The German were not considered white in this country. Italians were not considered white in this country for the longest time. That's how ridiculous this is. Master race. What are you talking about? It's a social construct. And if you do the 23andMe, we're all like a hodgepodge. we're all a mix, a tossed salad of all these different cultures, right? There's no pure race. If, however, you are a hate monger and a white supremacist and a white nationalist, and you believe I come from a shithole country, and you want to send me back to a third world country, and you think people who are black and brown should go back, and you agree with Donald Trump when he says Somalia garbage people, and you promote the replacement theory, and you agree with remigrate, and you are saying mass deportation, which was the sign they held at the 2024 RNC. If you agree with all this, and you're a triple Trumper, and you love Donald Trump more, especially when he's racist, then yes, I am talking to you. I am saying that you're a loser. I am saying that you have bland chicken. I am saying that you have a dirty ass. I am saying that you're an idiot who has already lost. I am saying that you're a traitor to this country and the Constitution and to multiculturalism. I am saying that you have a doomed ideology. I am saying that you're a miser. I am saying that you have a weak chin and weak knees and weak cankles like your king and daddy Donald Trump, who can't even stay awake. I am saying you're a fragile teacup. I am saying that no matter what happens to me, there's too many of us. You have already lost. You just don't know it. There are too many of us, black people, brown people, biracial people, white people, Asian people, who love delicious seasoned food, who wash our ass, who have great music, who have great looking women. Come to our party. Drop your narrative of hate. Drop the mayo sandwich, right? Wash your ass. Come to our side. Taste the rainbow. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. This is the present and the future. This is how it's always been: diverse, multicultural, the rest of us, right? But if you believe that your monocultural racial superiority will win, I want you to know, and I want you to melt down over this: you're a loser. You have lost. You just don't know it yet. It is inevitable. Do not destroy yourselves. This is a path of loneliness, sadness, isolationism. Taste the rainbow. Make everyone great again. That's all I have to say. And that's the last I'll address this week-long campaign against me, which I think is just amazing and also hilarious. They need better journalists at Fox. I expect, shit from Breitbart and Daily Wire, but Fox, first of all, they used excellent photos of me. So thank you, Breitbart, and thank you, Fox. You made me look so cool. Like, really, like a few good photos I have, I take terrible photos. So thank you for all the great photos. I really mean it. There's that one photo that Breitbart used of me makes me look so dope. Like, if I had a hip hop album, I would use that photo. And other photos Fox used, I was like in a suit and I was like, yes, I look cool. And I had hair. I digress. Fox said that I'm an immigrant. I was born and raised in America. I'm not an immigrant. And then all of these people, it's hilarious. People say, wow, do you get angry? Do you get upset? No, I rarely tweet angry and upset. I'm like Bugs Bunny. I just have fun. I drink my chai and I read this stuff and I respond to them on Twitter because I want them to know I'm not afraid. I want them to know that even if they get rid of me, there's 100 more. I want them to know we could take you on. We'll take you on in debates. We'll take you on with their shit posting. We'll take you on in the schools. We'll take you on at the ballot box. We'll take you on anywhere. There's too many of us, the multicultural coalition. So I want them to know. And it pisses them off. They're like Yosemite Sam and Elmer Fudd. Look at the past week. They just can't stand it when a woman or a person of color talks back to them. When a woman or a person of color calls them out. When a woman or person of color says they have shit mayo sandwiches and shit on their ass and they're losers. They can't stand it. Oh, I love it. I love it. So if you're a hate monger and you're offended, good. If you're not, don't be offended. I wasn't talking about you. And I don't want to be cruel. So I invite you to join the rest of us. And I'll end again by saying this. You, the hate mongers, the white supremacists, the white nationalists, the triple Trumpers, you need people like me to suffer in order to feel great again. I don't want you or need you to suffer in order to feel or be great again. Even though you dispense nothing but cruelty and hate, I still want the best for you and your family. I want your kids to have affordable healthcare. I want your kids to have a good education. I want you and your family to have paid family leave. I want you guys to have affordable childcare. I want you guys to, inshallah, have the American dream. I want your kids to succeed. Clean air, clean water. I do not need you to suffer to feel great again. And that is the difference between me and you. Folks, thank you so much for listening to my rant. I'll be back at 4 p.m. with Katie, 5 p.m. with Lev. I got to take my kiddo to the dentist right now. Everything's fine, just to check up. Folks, I'm running this no good, terrible capitalist Black Friday sale for 2 more days. Everything is free on the left hook. I've deliberately, like a terrible capitalist, have no paywalls. I'm independent. As you can clearly see, I'm not invited anywhere. So this is it. I've been independent for overwhelming majority of my career. It's all good. I depend on the kindness of strangers. So this sale is 25% off, which means that if you choose to become a paid subscriber, it's only about $3.50 a month and $38 a month. In fact, if you could give me 5 seconds, I'm actually just going to put the clip, the link to this discount in the in the this chat. And then for those who are joining us late, I'm going to have this up later on today. Hopefully, that's me trying to get the link. Give me a second, folks. So if you can, please, please, please try to become a paid subscriber. It helps. If you can't, um, I get it. Times are tough, and I'll never, inshallah, ever have a paywall. So I just put it up there. If you're a free subscriber, if you like what I've been doing for the past year at the Left Hook, 38 bucks a year. It goes a long way. And also support my co-host Danielle Moody and all the wonderful people who come on the show. I'm late for my kiddo's dentist appointment. Be kind, wash your ass, enjoy seasoned food, join the rest of us, the multicultural coalition of the willing. Don't be a hate monger, and don't be a fascist. Take care.